Hello, hello, this is White Raven. Welcome to my channel. And today's collective reading is your blind spots. We all have blind spots. Usually, blind spots are the parts of ourselves that are too painful or too hard to see and accept. Fragmented parts of ourselves that we have shut away and shut down because of some childhood traumas. And simply parts of ourselves that we don't want to acknowledge because we were taught that, for instance, anger or sadness or certain things within us were good and certain things within us were bad, and we were to be ashamed of it and we were to hide them. And when we hide them, or when we fragment ourselves in sections of good and bad, dark and light, what happens is we stop looking and acknowledging and accepting those negative parts of ourselves, which are not negative, but those shadow parts of ourselves. And what happens when we do not look at something in the darkness, the shadow parts are growing and they actually begin to have more hold over us because we turn away from them. So we kind of separate them and pretend that this is not who we are, this is not part of ourselves. And then let's say the anger outbursts or the suppressed anger or the shame or the guilt or you name it, becomes to have control over us in a very different ways because we do not accept it. So therefore we don't know how and when will it show up. And so we begin to react instead of responding to certain situations. So today we're going to look at these blind spots. Everybody has blind spots, everybody has shadow side. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. We are contrast human beings, we are contrast beings. Everything in this universe is learned through and by contrast. We need those parts, so there is nothing to be ashamed of. The thing that we need to do is acknowledge them, accept them, feel it, and accept it as parts of ourselves. We're working with 4 decks today: Tarot of the Dark Side of Tarot, Deviant Moon Tarot, Hash Tarot, and Shadows of Light Oracle by Haley Claire. Okay, so let me put this away, uncross your legs, uncross your feet, bring your energy back to this room, to this moment, to this place. Taking 3 beautiful breaths in and out, and let's begin. So, while I'm shuffling the deck, just grounding yourself into this moment, into this room. This is a collective reading. Please take what resonates and leave the rest. It's a timeless reading. Means whenever you open it, it's valid, or what is the word, from that particular moment in time. And so let's begin. What are your blind spots? What is the blind spots in your awareness? What are the qualities of yourself that you do not wish to see, cannot see? The qualities of yourself that you are possibly not proud of, the parts of yourself that you have shut off, the parts of yourself that were fragmented, the parts of yourself that need to be seen and accepted. Now, we are not taking it in any bad way, because this is not a reading on how amazing you are, how bad you are. This is simply your blind spots, and we want to look in that dark mirror occasionally to be able to have a reality check, to do a reality check. So let's begin. Blind spots and parts of yourself, shadow parts of you. Okay. All right. Spiritual escapism to start with. Avoidance of looking at the darkest corners of your soul by using spirituality and or meditation. Or example, I've meditated today, I feel good, I don't have any negative traits in me any longer because I'm doing my meditation twice a day, or I've read all these books. Or spiritual bypassing, instead of feeling into and acknowledging the childhood traumas from the past, the ways that we got hurt and never processed it because we didn't have the capacity to be able to process emotions. We didn't know what to do with it as children. All the traumas that are coming to us from childhood, from our families, from generation to generations, that is being passed on to us through a blueprint and our DNA. Instead of processing it, say, yes, but I am meditating, I am doing yoga, I'm eating so well, how can I possibly have any traumas? And so you bypass it, you avoid it, you look away from it. Occasionally, you have some control issues. So maybe we try to control the external world when we cannot control what is inside. And when inside there are too many emotions that we are afraid to feel, we begin to control the outside world and reality around us. So here could be OCD, control freaks, I'm one of them, and anxieties, any kind of disorder. You control yourself, you control the world around you, you control others to make sure that nothing from the outside world can affect you in a way that you will be triggered. Okay, what else? What are the parts of you that are hard for you to look at? What are the parts of you that you don't want to see? For someone, avoiding feeling whatever needs to be felt, I mean, classic, avoiding feeling in general, closing off, don't want to feel. The outside world already feels like too much, I don't want to feel. For some people, addictions, or avoiding feeling what has to be felt, avoiding getting in touch with your heart, with your emotions, by drinking, partying, going out, laughing it away, meeting friends, using friends in order to avoid being alone, in order not to feel. Also, taking on way too much and trying to fix the world and taking on more responsibilities than needed, because if I can fix the outside world, I probably don't have to fix myself, or the outside world becomes a reflection of what's happening inside, and so we unconsciously try to manipulate the outside world, living in your head most of the time, possibly easily to get triggered and being a bit snappy, or using verbal abuse. Not really moving forward in life and just staying stuck in this traumas, and not wanting to feel, not seeing how the only way out is in and through. And so your life is like on pause at the moment, because you are avoiding, you are escaping, you are not processing, you are avoiding processing whatever has to be processed and whatever has to be seen. What is it exactly that you are avoiding? What is it that you're escaping? What is it that you don't want to feel? What is it that you're avoiding and escaping and not willing to feel? Some harsh, your father, when you were a child, your father was a, harsh man. And the words that came your way when you were young were harsh and brutal, and it hurt you a lot. You didn't, your father's love was a tough love. And so you often felt like you had to work hard to be loved. So all of this pain where you felt like this person in the mask, when you've been told things that deeply hurt you, and then you were also told to stop being such a baby, such a wuss, such a crybaby, and you were left there alone, heartbroken and tired and feeling like completely lost and shattered, because the people that meant to love you unconditionally verbally abuse you, and that feels like a knife in your heart. All of this is coming from childhood. You avoid everything that has to do with that childhood. So here we had taking on too much responsibilities. That is because your father in particular, we can see here, has made you feel like you have to work hard to be loved. Love is to be earned. You do not just wake up and find yourself being loved or cared for. You have to earn it. And unfortunately, a lot of us have grown up like that. Okay, what else? Is there anything else that you're avoiding and unwilling to feel? What are the other blind spots? What are the other parts of yourself that have been fragmented and shut away, that are now ready to be seen? and embraced back to wholeness. As a child, you learn that you have to beg for love and attention, and you learn mean words have been used, and you have been ridiculed for wanting to be loved, ridiculed for being a child, ridiculed for asking for attention. You learn that you were given things when you needed love. You were given things instead of pure unconditional love. Here's the candy, here's the toy, here's something, take this and bugger off and leave me alone. You felt kind of disconnected from your mom, and you learned to manipulate to get attention. Because when we don't get love the way we're supposed to get it, we manipulate to get it. And there was not much love going on between you and your mother, and so you learn to manipulate to get it. You had to fight for it. You had to fight for attention, you had to beg for love, and then instead you were given things and sent away. And so the lessons that you learned when you were a child is that when you don't feel good, when you feel sad, or when you need love, you go out and get yourself something. You get yourself, it was toys when you were younger, now the toys are different. You get yourself a lover, you get yourself one night stand, you go get yourself a bottle of wine, you get yourself a cake, or you go out and party with friends. But what happens is on the inside is that inner child that needed love and needed affection is still waiting for that love and affection, and it's not going to come and fill that void from objects and physical possessions. Okay. How can you shift this? How can you shift from this place? What can you do to shift from this place of avoidance into acceptance? There are many ways, of course. But what is the particular way that is good for you? What is the best way forward for you? How to heal and embrace these blind spots, these fragmented parts of yourself that are screaming for love. Notice how there is not many cup cards in here because your heart is closed. Eight of Cups. I don't want to feel it. I don't want it. Don't make me. There is so much in there. It's so scary. It's so painful. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to embrace it. Okay. The lesson here is to go back to your childhood. Go back go back straight to those, go straight for those feelings. This could be hypnotherapy, this could be done quietly in bed, or playing certain music that reminds you of childhood, or just noticing the feelings when you react to certain situations and asking yourself, how does this situation make me feel? How did that person, how did the person saying that in that particular time made me feel? And then focusing on the feeling. So going back, finding the part of yourself that is avoiding feeling, turning back straight for those feelings, going deep inside and digging up everything. This is your spiritual journey, digging one single piece of emotion at the time. And when we do that, feeling pierced by this ten of feeling pressed down by the weight of this ten of wands, how hard is it? Like all of this is piled up on you. As you begin to do that, as you begin to set yourself free to come out from this mask, from this hiding, you will come back to your joyful child self, where you have been in touch with your emotions, where you have been in touch with your passion. Because unfortunately, when we shut away the pain or shut off the pain, we shut off the joy as well, and the passion and the desire for living and being alive and creating the lives that we want and enjoying life. So you can do it by yourself. There are many techniques. There is breath work, there is hypnotherapy. I'm not a big fan of talk therapy, because it's not about talking, it's about feeling. So you have to travel back in time and feel all those things you didn't want to feel. There is a great book called The Presence Process by Michael Brown. You can look it up. It's 10 weeks process of breathing that you can do by yourself. But this is your spiritual journey inwards, going inwards, finding all those emotions. You can turn on the music that makes you feel things, and then just allowing those tears to come up and asking yourself questions. What is this about? And sometimes you won't get an answer. It would be just emotions packed up in there because you have been suppressing them for so long. And sometimes you will get a memory, a story, a picture of what was that about. And most of the traumatic events happen before the age of 7, but then they can continue to occur until the age of 16, or while we still live with our families. So all of this, you have to set yourself free. You have to take off the mask. You have to go back to being able to feel, because when we allow ourselves to feel, we allow ourselves to go back to the curious, passionate, creative version of ourselves that wants to be alive. And for that, we have to open our heart. What else? Advice for you on this journey of the brave. Advice for you. Advice for you. This is the work that you have to do. Feeling the grief, the pain, the heartbreak is the work that you have to do. It is the spiritual work. It is the mountain that we've been all trying to avoid and go around, but the mountain is the way. So the only way out of this apathy, the only way out of this suppressed anger, the only way out of this suppressed grief and pain and heartbreak is just to work through this. And the way we work through this is we accept it and we allow ourselves to feel it. And for some time, we really might feel sad, because when we have to feel the sadness from the past, we are sad. Suppressing all those emotions, suppressing all of that is really like cutting off your lifeline, cutting off your air supply, because we are human beings are human beings. We're not human doings, we're human beings. And to be means to be right here, right now. And with being right here, right now comes the feeling, whatever is in there. So when we don't do that, we cut off our life supply. We drown into this murky waters of no oxygen because we have shut our heart off. Allowing ourselves to get in touch with the loving part of ourselves, becoming our own mothers, processing the things, everything that has, allowing ourselves to go deep in our childhood, because there are things in there that have come from your family, from your mother. And once you do so, you will be able to become your own parent. You will be able to love yourself the way the people in your life that were meant to love you never managed to love you. And processing one emotion at the time, one painful memory at the time, without getting stuck on the stories, you will build a stable foundation for yourself where you will know how to do it. And slowly, slowly, you will begin to come back to life, to the creative, passionate, excited about life version of yourself. Okay, one word from the oracle. This is not a destination goal kind of task. I'll be all good by the end of this week. I'll process it all quickly. It's a way of living. It's allowing yourself to feel everything deeply. It's accepting that we all have been traumatized, and this is not an error. This is something that we use to become more conscious, more aware. So, advice or word for you. Now, seize the moment. It's time to come back into the now. It's time to come back into the present moment. It's time to come back right here. It's time to come back into the body. It's time to allow ourselves to feel. It's time to come home. There will never be another time, for this eternal hour resides here in this eternal place. Now is the time. This precious moment is all that you have. How are you going to spend it? What dream is calling to be followed? What change is ready to be made? What can you resolve in the here and now that has been put aside to be dealt with later? Is there something that has been left unsaid? What is being held onto that can be forgiven or released? What could be healed within yourself and within your relationships with others? What needs to be learned or unlearned? What will bring you to greater sense of purpose and wholeness? It would seem that the time is speeding up, and yet tomorrow never actually arrives. There is no later. The cascade of experiences are continually falling through our fingers. We cannot hold on to them, but leave them unwaveringly. This is your chance. Will you take it? Now is the time. Now is the time to release the pain, to embrace the parts of yourself that you have been looking away from. When we truly look at the darkness, when we truly look at something that we consider to be the darkness, it transforms, because in metaphysics we know that nothing is unaffected by the observer. The moment we look at something, we transform it. When we truly look at it, without judgment, without an attempt to change it, without back thoughts that if I look at it, it will go away. Acceptance means willing to admitting and accepting that whatever it is that we're accepting might be there forever, and it's okay. And the moment we truly accept something, it actually transforms and disappears. But there should be no agenda, because the only way and the only reason to do this is for you to feel deeply alive. The other side, the other coin, the other side of the coin of love is pain. The other side of the joy is sadness. We cannot have one without another. So for you right now, the time has come to work through all these emotions that you have hid within yourself, within your body, and allow them to be. Allow all those fragmented versions of yourself to be seen by you and loved by you, the way maybe your parents didn't know how to love you. Thank you for being here. I wish you strength and courage and self-love and acceptance on this journey. May you be healed. May your pain will be released and transformed. I love you. And I wish you all the best on this healing journey that we are all walking together. This was White Raven, and see you soon.